Hi everyone, welcome back. Brand new camera, ready to go again. But I got a problem. I got to get rid of that. If you're a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Again, yeah, back to glasses if you didn't catch my last video, but hopefully it's only temporary because I paid $4,000 to fix these stupid things and they're just not agreeing with me. So, as I'd mentioned, I'm sick of waiting. The scrap pile's got to go. I'm sick of having an ugly yard. It's springtime. I'm in a t-shirt for once. It's only cold here, 8 months out of the year. People in Minnesota are laughing at me. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to get this pile the hell out of here because I got to get to work on this thing. And there's still so much to do. And it's already May now. And that means I have like 26 or 5 days until we go racing again. Not exactly a short amount of time, but it is when things aren't getting done. So let me get rid of this stuff. Well, that was tiring, but it's getting cleaned up slowly. I found this bench grinder on the side of the road, and I figured I'd put it outside for really dusty, disgusting jobs. I found a couple pieces of some kind of suspension and steering stuff sitting around the corner I didn't even know I had, which are like $70 a piece. So I'm like, oh, I had them already. Good. Otherwise, I am fat and middle-aged and tired now, so that pretty much shot my entire evening, but I'm gonna go take a shower because I'm old, and I'll probably come back tomorrow. I got a video to make, and I'm really late in doing it, so we'll definitely be back. Next day, finally got to get something done here because I'm sick of just kind of piddling around cleaning and doing other stuff. So I think the rear is going to come out because it has to get done. So we're going to do it. Out for the most part. Kind of a pain, but it is what it is. I hate changing rears out, and I can't even begin to tell you how many times I've done it. I was trying to get the jack under the car because the car was too high on my quick jacks, and forgot that the trailing arms were straight down and like pogoing the car off the stand, so I had to bungee those up out of the way. So we're gonna probably just do the easy thing here. I'll save fixing this thing for later because if I run that rear end, I don't have to change the transmission or the shifter, and it would save me a little bit of time and effort. I'm not sure if that gear ratio is really going to work for me, but I know that the rear is straight. I did straighten it before. Obviously, we're going to string it again, but I got to swap over at least the pads and the calipers and the lines onto that rear, and then that rear can go up in here and we can start getting somewhere. So the other rear is now back in. I gotta bleed the brakes, and I think everything else is tight. I think the shocks are tight. Pretty sure the drive shaft's tight because I spent 10 minutes under there with people texting me when I can't reach my phone. So she's in, and I think I got the springs back in the right spots. Pretty sure I looked at them, but either way, that's back in, and I can, like I said, bleed brakes, put the wheels back on it, stick it back on the ground, and we can start stringing to make sure the rear ain't screwed up, maybe make some adjustments, and get to work on the front. But it's late, and I'm sweating to death because I left this sweatshirt on while it's 70 degrees, and I'm dying now, so. And I'm old and fat, so either way, I'm going to come back tomorrow, do whatever I got to do, and we'll do as much as we possibly can to get this video out. I know I do apologize to everybody because the shows have been pretty lame, I guess, lately because, well, to be fair, I mean, I only race a handful of times a year. It's just not nonstop action, and that sucks, you know? There's a lot of people who get paid a lot of money to be on YouTube, and they can provide a heck of a lot more entertainment, and that's just how it is, but I'm just a guy in a garage. I can't do a lot. I don't have the money. I don't have the following. I don't have anything to really support this except for this is a blog of my hobby, and that's about it. But maybe someday we'll get there, but I ain't going to hold my breath. I got a retirement plan. So either way, we'll see you tomorrow. Next day already, working on my road cars and completely failing. So I was looking for a win, so I had gotten here and I was like, hey, you know, this thing's on the ground. Everything looks great. And then I kind of looked in here and I was not very keen on what I saw. Now, I wasn't going to show this, to be honest with y'all. I really wasn't going to show this to you because I'm embarrassed, but let me get you in here. Now, obviously, sometimes I don't show the suspension of my car, but with how bad we've been lately, what's the difference? I got 2 equal-sized tires on it, and I got it on the ground, obviously. And I'm looking at the upper mounts on this rear end, and I've had problems with the mounts before, but never, for some reason, I never looked at the upper mounts, because the only thing I ever really did to this rear was I cut the tubes so that it would shorten it, and that came out perfect. Rear end is straight, everything's good. Then I screwed up the lower mounts on it a few times. The upper mounts I cut off just because, and then I put those on again, but I used my jig that is, well, outside, and I don't know how I did this, but for some odd reason, they don't line up. That one, the laser goes right through the middle of the bolt hole. Again, equal size tires. For some reason, that one's a 1/4 inch high. Huh. So instead of just buying new stuff, because, you know, that's the smart thing to do, I'm just going to take that one and cut it down so that they're both equal and we're not screwing up all the arm angles and stuff, and that at least they'll be consistent. They might not be perfect or correct, but they'll be consistent. And that's the only thing that I can really afford is consistency. There we go, that's much better. And that didn't take me all night because it's still light out. So now that I got that in and tight and everything should be good and at least the same height now, for God's sakes. Again, arm angles matter, everything matters. I'm trying to go through everything and make sure it's right. So those two are good. All the lowers I know are good because I made those off the jig, which I thought I made those off of, but the jig, I did it a different way. With the lowers, I did it by angle. So when I put those on, I put them at a almost 90-degree angle and set them so that they actually don't change your, wheelbase by being off one way or the other and changing your arm length. So, all right, so there's those. Those should all be equal. Those are in the center of the bolts now, and it's equal size tires. And you know what I said before, but I forgot I didn't put a filter on that tube right there. That's great. So there'll be plenty of metal shards in there now. Either way, I got to center this car in the lines because it kind of moved over and forward by jacking it up and down about 50 million times. I'll reset all the tire pressures, and I think we're going to start stringing it again just to see what it says. Well, I did my best for tonight. You can see we got, well, I think I already mentioned that, but she's on the ground, obviously. And I got the front end in the air. I forgot completely that I had the pitman arm off. So I basically had to try to fasten that puppy on and move the car around. And it got real late and I'm super tired. It's just not going well. I really got to apologize for how long this video is probably going to take because it's going to be out later than usual. I've been trying to put them out Mondays. It's Saturday now. There is a chance I could possibly make it, but man, they're just getting later and later, and man, I'm sorry. I'm just really tired. I had so much going on this week. I'm trying to fix my truck. I'm trying to fix my car to try to pass emissions. Otherwise, if it doesn't, I can't keep it registered anymore, and that's the only way I can get to work, and that sucks. So I am going to call it for tonight. Hopefully I can make it back out here early tomorrow morning or something before, I have to go somewhere and do stuff. But I'll do my best to get out here, and I'll show you why this has been taking me so long as well. Issue with the pitman arm is that I have a lollipop hole, and that's a steel sleeve that goes all the way down through the chassis. And, well, it blocks off the holes where you put the bolts in for the pitman arm. So I've had to weld them on, and I don't know where this one's going to sit, and I needed to be able to steer it, so I got a bolt in it for now, but, man, it's really just kind of being a pain. And the bolt's not even tight. I can't even get a wrench on it from there, but I don't know if I can string it until I get the thing in place, which really kind of stinks. So I might have to just center the steering, do bump steer, and then string it to make sure I do it straight afterwards. But, I mean, that's probably going to have to do, but we'll see what comes the next days. All right, it is early o'clock on Sunday. Too early for me to even open the door because it's like 45 degrees outside in May. Whatever, that's fine. So I've made an executive decision because I have to get this video out to you guys because I can't wait anymore. I'm not going to have much content for it unless I do this. Remember that sleeve for the lollipop mounts for the sway bars that I actually don't use anymore? Well, I'm just going to take the plasma torch out and hack it off on both sides, upper and lower, and be done with it. To those of you who say, oh, well, I can't afford a plasma torch, blah. Well, some of you might not, and that sucks. And I know I understand that, but mine, to be fair, was really not that expensive. I got that one right there, that Prime Weld from Amazon. I think it was less than $300. If you got an air compressor, you can probably afford a plasma torch, but some people can't even afford the air compressor, and I get that. But if you can't afford that, oxyacetylene torch maybe, but even those are expensive to get started on. I think the plasma torch is actually cheaper, so I don't know. You can figure it out. radiator that never seems to run out of water continues draining even though I already drained it. It's amazing how much more ambitious I am when I don't have to do this right after I get out of work. So now that I've gotten that thing out of the way, I still have one on the left front, but there's no bolts to put stuff to on the left front, so who cares if that stays there. I am going to now at least attempt to affix this, what's it called? Idler arm, in a manner with which I can at least start doing my bump steer and stuff. So I still have my frame height measurements from whatever marks I made. All I have to do is just kind of bust the top ball joint off, which I don't know why it's pinned. I'm looking at it and it's pinned, and I'm like, huh. I don't recall tightening these because I knew it had to come apart. I don't know why that's pinned. Well, that's going to stink if it's pinned, but oh well. I got my hammer underneath my welding helmet. We'll just bust those ball joints free when that thing stops finally draining. But anyway, when I finally get around to getting this thing down on the, well, at least low enough that it's at some kind of frame height, I might put like 7 inches worth of blocks over here and like, I don't know, 6 over there to kind of mimic a close frame height. And I'll have the wheel off and I'll have the bump steer gauge underneath here. And then I'll put the, I'll have no springs in it and I'll have the bump steer gauge put onto it and stuff. And then we can at least start measuring it, because I figured stringing the car now would just be like a complete waste of time. Just complete. Because it would just be me straightening out the tie rods and then it's like, oh, yeah, exactly. And it's just not, it's kind of stupid, right? Because I'd be taking it all back apart anyway, so what's the point? So let's do that. Let's get the springs out. Let's get the car down lower on the ground. Let's get the bump steer gauge out. Let's start measuring. We need to measure this stuff. I'll see if I can get it on turn plates and figure out what the Ackerman is, if I can even measure that. But that might have to wait till the next video because I don't know if some of you have seen, but let me refresh your memory on how bad my bump steer gauge is. Now this kind of pisses me off. My brother went to all the trouble of buying me, sorry, I'm trying to put this thing away, buying me this nice brand new bump steer gauge, and here's the plate, here's the gauge, the dial indicators. He went to all the trouble, was kind enough to buy me this nice gauge, and the people who made this gauge used a performance tool jack. I didn't even use it, and look at it. Look at all the staining, look at all the oil, look at all the oil on here. It never even got to be used, and the damn thing leaks oil like a sieve out of every single orifice, every one of them. It's a pile of crap. And that's not my brother's fault. That is the people who made this, and I don't even know who that was, but that really irritates me. Obviously in life, no good deed goes unpunished, and that thing is the exact representation of that idea. Unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to shut this video short, and, well, I wanted this video to be a lot more work-oriented because lately I haven't been showing a lot of me working. I mean, what do people tune in to watch? They tune in to watch me doing stuff and working, and it just hasn't been that way. It's been me just kind of doing work and then cutting to, hey, I did this, or hey, I did that, and you're not actually watching the process. And I got this new camera, and it's my phone, and I wanted to start I wanted to start filming more. I keep leaving out all the good stuff, and that's kind of what y'all watch. So like I said, unfortunately we had to cut it short, but we got some work done. We got the rear changed. I figured out a problem with the rear, and we got that fixed, and we went through the front end again, I think. I don't remember now. I'm gonna have to go back and look through the footage. Oh boy, I forgot already. We did some more stuff. That's all I remember, and well, that's helpful. And we got a race in
couple more weeks, I think, at least. Shoot, I'm trying to think. It's the, let me see, it's the, no watch, because I'm stupid. It's the 5th or something like that right now. We race on Monday. Yeah, Monday, the 27th. It's a Memorial Day show up at Thompson. And it's, I mean, everybody's got Monday off pretty much. Well, most everybody, because it's a holiday. And it's the day after the Indy 500. You can come out to Thompson and watch us go racing again. It'll be a fun time. It's not going to go into like the late night or anything. It's probably going to be a mid-afternoon show. And we still got time to get ready. I just really hope this gear ratio works out. I really hope it works out. I mean, it worked with my crate motor, and this ain't a heck of a lot different. I mean, it's relatively the same thing. So I'm choking on smoking here because all the oil inside my frame rails from years and years of abuse and racing have tried to catch on fire. So I got to thank you all for watching again. I greatly appreciate it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And I tell you this every week, better things are on the horizon here. And I got a text message the last couple weeks, and they're coming. And you just got to be really, really patient with me. Next year, we're planning on going racing full time. And it's going to be at Stafford. It's going to be a completely new venture for us. And like I said, we're preparing now for a year in advance. And let me be honest with you, it's going to be necessary. So to those of you who know, you know. To those who don't, trust me, hang in there. Maybe a couple more videos. Trust me, it's only going to be a couple more videos before this thing comes out. And it's going to be pretty awesome. And it's going to change my career at large. So subscribe if you haven't. Tell your friends if you think they'd like this type of complete and utter mess. And until next time.